We lost the 2006 election not because of Iraq. We lost it because we let spending get it completely out of control. We put money into things like $3 million to study the DNA of bears in Montana. I don't know if that's a paternity issue or a criminal issue, but it was your $3 million, okay?
DNA of bears in Montana, not to speak of the bears on Wall Street. Tee-hee-hee-hee. Our stock market money politics panel is back. Carl Cantanilla and John Harwood waiting in the wings for more election results. Let me go back to my distinguished panelist. Jerry Bowyer, you heard Mr. McCain. That is a familiar mantra on his part. Republicans lost in '06 because of overspending and over-earmarking and over-corruptioning and all the rest of it. Is he the man to turn it around? And is the vote of confidence in him that appears to be coming justification for that point of view?
Yeah, he's the man to turn it around. He's got the street credibility on this issue because he was talking about it when no one else wanted to get near it. It is an important issue, not just politically and not just economically. Spending is a problem, but this earmark thing is much more a matter of corruption even than it is of spending. It corrupts our political system. It's one step closer to bread and circuses as opposed to the ideals of the American Republic. These earmarks are a bad idea. They're probably unconstitutional, and McCain's message is long overdue.
He's got a strong message. Let me just say, projected winner in Delaware is, in fact, Senator McCain. Projected winner in the Connecticut primary, Senator McCain. Projected winner in the New Jersey primary, Senator McCain. I dare say, I don't know if Carl and John disagree, there's nothing new, particularly new news, but those are the results from the projections, NBC News. Did I hear Jared Bernstein? Athens versus Sparta. You back with class warfare? Yeah, Main Street versus investors, right? Main Street hates business. They hate business. No. 140 million people work for business, but they hate it.
Look, I'm all for business, so don't get me wrong. Listen, McCain is talking, and I think we can all agree on this point. When he's talking about earmarks, he's absolutely talking about good stuff, you know, getting rid of good stuff, and I'm all for it. I mean, getting rid of bad stuff, and I'm all for it. The problem is that's very small potatoes, and you can't tackle the spending issues unless you tackle entitlements. Now, if McCain wants to run on, I'm in the Iraq war for 50 or 100 more years, whatever it takes, and I'm going to slash the heck out of Medicare, it's going to be a tough general election for him.
It's a smokescreen. I mean, Jerry Bowyer, you heard Jared. Jared didn't once mention earmarks. Earmarks are not only real.
Earmarks are bad news.
But, Jerry Bowyer,
earmarks
are real, $35 billion worth. Earmarks correlate with overall spending.
Right.
But here's the thing.
That's it. They correlate.
Jerry Bowyer, have you heard on this campaign trail or in this Democratic Congress newly elected a year ago any reference whatsoever to a single spending cut? Has such a thing happened? I missed it.
No, nothing specific other than earmarks. But you're right about earmarks. They correlate. I mean, in a prison economy, they're the cigarettes, right? They're the trade. they're what you do to buy votes for the really big-ticket items. So earmarks are the currency of corruption, and they correlate with bigger spending items.
Ben Stein, let's go back to you on the McCain message. Now, he's for corporate tax cuts. He wants to get rid of the alternative minimum tax. He may come up with additional tax reforms. But, Ben, at the heart of it, Mr. McCain is saying he wants less spending and he wants fewer earmarks for domestic programs, Ben. But on the military side, Mr. McCain's going to have to make the math add up because he wants a bigger military force and he wants a bigger Department of Defense. I happen to agree, Ben, but how's he going to do it?
Well, he's going to have more deficits. I mean, every president promises to cut waste and earmarks and favoritism and spend more sensibly. None of them ever does it. Mr. Reagan, God bless his soul, did dramatically increase defense spending. That needs to be done in a big, big way. Our military establishment is falling apart because of outdated hardware, obsolete planes, ships, tanks, everything. We need much more military spending. If McCain is going to really give it to us, that by itself, without any other consideration, makes him the person who should be president.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
All right, but hang on. Dan Clifton, bring you in, because you probably know these sectors better than any humanoid living on this planet Earth. Let me just look at the defense. We talked about this with Dylan Radigan's Fast Money Group.
Yep.
First of all, McCain wins. You buy defense stocks?
Absolutely. I would buy Homeland Security stocks as well, which are a little different than defense stocks.
Now, take me by the hand. Obama wins. Do you buy defense and Homeland Security stocks?
Absolutely. I'm short on those.
Short? You said absolutely. Short?
I would not buy them. I'm shorting defense stocks. It's about 4% of GDP. We would forecast they try and get that back down to about 3% of GDP.
And what if Senator Clinton wins? What do you do with those same defense and homeland security stocks?
Hillary Clinton campaign always believed that she was running against John McCain for president even years ago and has been sort of a hawk on defense throughout this campaign. I'd say she's a middle ground, 3.5% of GDP. She slows the growth, so I would look at more homeland security and less defense under a Clinton administration.
And last one before we break, and you all come back down. What about the intelligence? I think of FISA, but I think of the CIA. All that stuff was badly defunded in the 1990s. To tell you the truth, the Gingrich Congress never should have signed on to those budget cuts along with the Clinton people. But what do you do with the high-tech intelligence, type stuff, Dan?
Well, it's weapons and it's technology, and I think a John McCain president is very bullish for these stocks. Moving forward, I think that he'll build on the transformation of the U.S. military into a much more agile military that's going to find terrorists in the woods.
And he can't do that if he's going to follow his tax cut agenda, not without massive deficits. I think Ben Stein's right about that.
Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, that's an absolute great point. He's going to set his priorities. It's defense. He's got a $400 billion budget deficit. Tax cuts go off the table under a McCain administration.
Then, Jerry Bowyer, that's the Eisenhower scenario we talked about earlier this week.
Military Keynesianism.
Jerry Bowyer, that's Ike. Ike kept tax rates high in order to expand the military. Right. Is there a way out for Senator McCain, President-elect McCain, if that happens, to keep tax rates low and expand the military?
Yeah, it's the Ronald Reagan formula. And if you have to run some deficits, there's nothing wrong with running deficits to win wars. We've never had a major war in American history where we didn't finance with deficits.
What is Reagan said, as I recall, and I was right there with him, he said, look, a strong domestic economy from low tax rates is essential to producing defense resources. Ben Stein, you never bought into it.
Not even slightly. The supply side doesn't work. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to have lower taxes, but it does not produce added revenue growth. It doesn't produce a corresponding growth in the GDP. It's a great idea. It's an excuse for lowering taxes on the rich, that's all.
Rich Carlgard, what do I do with Ben Stein? I adore Ben Stein. I think Ben Stein is the smartest guy, Rich Carlgard. What do I do with him? Help me on this.
Well, tell him that under Reagan's presidency, the federal debt grew $1.7 trillion. That's true, but the asset value of the United States grew $17 trillion. Now, what CEO wouldn't trade $1 of debt for $10 of assets?
All right, on the way out.
We had very high national asset growth under Clinton, and he lowered the deficit.
All right, hang on a second, folks. Everybody's going to stay. We have much more to do on this. We want to keep America prosperous the best way we can. Free markets, economic freedom, and a strong national defense. Kudlow and Company coming right back.
If you have health insurance and you're happy with it, nothing changes. But if you're uninsured or you have insurance